Peterson was ejected from the event. They lost their pit stall selection, Steve. They start at the rear of the field, and they must perform a stop-and-go penalty after taking the green flag. Matt McCall, who you saw just a second ago, will fill in as crew chief. Man, it's been an eventful morning for the 71.
Yeah, busy morning for the 71, and it's just in today's day of NASCAR, kind of working on the car after inspection is not going to be tolerated. I agree with the penalties. I think they need to be enforced. I totally understand when cars fail once or twice, because I think you have to push the edge if you're going to keep up with somebody like Kyle Larson. You have to be right on the edge of it. But there's a difference between pushing the limits and then breaking the rules, and I think that was a clear rules violation for the 71. Kyle Larson is clearly awake.
Yeah, breaking news. Ride. Kyle Larson awake.
Yeah, giving our spoiler ride a...
Really don't go there right off the bat. There's no need to. But as the tires get older and the grip starts going away, inches matter. You can move that car just a few more inches closer to the wall. That means you don't have to turn the wheel just a little bit more. That makes it so you're not asking as much of the car, and all of a sudden you start finding grip the closer you get to the wall. There's also some aero advantages of being right against the wall as well, but that guy right there does it as well as anybody.
Yeah, and you saw it, you mentioned it. There's this crew chief, Cliff Daniels. The two of them spent a little time. If that looks like an interesting HendrickCars.com hat in the red and yellow, red and gold of the Kansas City Chiefs, it is because it is. And Larson and Cliff Daniels spent a little time with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce the other day. I saw a picture on social media, so great opportunity out here. And
speaking of said visit with the Chiefs, there you go. How about that? Check that out.
I'm going to tell you, in that right there, Kyle Larson absolutely looks like a race car driver, but Cliff Daniels looks like, he's got quarterback height.
He could be in there,
yeah,
right?
He's not going to play tight end.
No, yeah. He's not Kelce, but, why not? He's close to Mahomes. The hat helps a little.
I've always said, game always respects game, and I've always said the same about athletes, right? When you take a driver anywhere, any other sporting event, instantly it's the athletes. It's not the fans, it's the athletes that want to meet other athletes in different sports. I think there's so much mutual respect for performing at such a high level.
And for a guy who loves to study process like Cliff Daniels, I'm sure hanging out with the Chiefs for a day and Andy Reid and that group was probably a lot of fun, Dave. Oh, Ryan Blaney into the wall.
Man, that's a big hit for the 12 car.
Wow.
Good thing he won a week ago, so he's going to have no stress over the weekend, but this is not how you want to start practice.
Certainly not, and we talked about this new right side tire, Steve, being more durable, and you said teams will still push it, right?
Left rear tire, man.
Blue, a left rear is what he says.
He's saying a left rear.
It's hard to tell whether it's flat or not at that speed. The right rear definitely is, but the right's obviously hit the wall.
Well, he said it blew a tire, so we're going to assume that's what happened. But you think about Penske, they have been very aggressive on air pressures, and in practice they've had multiple issues through the years with this car in particular being low on air pressure and having issues in practice. So you just have to wonder, just crossing over the edge a little bit on air pressure and damaging a tire.
That looked like a right rear to me. I know he said left rear, Steve, but I go back to Michigan. The same exact thing happened to Ryan Blaney in the 12 car at Michigan earlier this year, where they kind of went too far with air pressure, and they kind of had been in this mode of, in practice, being very careful early in a run. Since then, they got to wonder if the win in the bank, they may win a little more aggressive today.
Yeah, you see the bottom of the car hitting the racetrack after the air going out of the tires. Hard to tell if it's a right or a left rear. Back in spring, this is the May of 25, it was the majority left rear. Take a risk, I would say the 12 would be the one I would nominate in the meetings.
Yeah, exactly. And you see Ryan get out and just kind of throw his hands in the air, Jeff.
Well, and look, you have to remember, you're sitting in that race car. And, we see wrecks like this, and we think it's no big deal. Driver gets out, he looks fine. But sitting in that race car, it's a totally different experience than watching it from up here. I can guarantee you that. There's not many impacts that are small. and it goes straight to the driver. And now you've lost this practice. You know, you've lost a day. You've learned almost nothing.
Competition director Travis Geisler right there on the scene, Steve.
I will say Ryan Blaney in the 12 car is the #1 long car when we look at the stats all year long. So the right rear is definitely flat. I wonder if we can walk around and take a shot at the left rear. I'd love to see if the left rear has air in it or not. The right rear definitely flat, down on the wheel. Ryan's going to take a trip to the infield care center. Kind of a required trip. And we can...
Left rear appears up, Steve.
Yeah, so I would imagine if Dave's seeing the left rear has air, the right rear failed. And just to remind everybody, the idea is that there are limits in the rear suspension that won't let the diffuser get any closer to the ground. So yeah, the left rear to me definitely has air in it. So what you do is once you get down to the limits of travel, the only way to get the diffuser lower to the ground is to take air out of the rear tires. And it gets the diffuser down. It just keeps squeezing and squeezing the air, which makes it go faster and faster and faster, which is basically like a vacuum, and it just sucks the car to the ground, and it creates a tremendous amount more downforce. That's why you do it.
You know, the other, that I would agree that's probably what happened, but the other thing that could have happened is just could have run something over and punctured the tire. You know, that's something.
Totally.
You know,
all we know is air came out. We don't know why.
We know as competitors what we would be trying to do, and that's run as low as air pressure as possible. But we don't know they didn't puncture a tire here and run something over. So we just don't have that information for sure.
And to be fair, they may not know either.
Correct.
If there's too much damage to the tire, you just don't know why the air came out of it. Once you pop a balloon, it's pretty hard to put it back together.
But what it does do, though, is if you felt like you were borderline on pressure, that information goes through all Team Penske. We're not going to go that low again. Unless we find a puncture in the tire, we can't go that low. We just saw the result.
The one thing we know for sure that there's no worry in the 12 camp because of what happened earlier today, but also because of what happened last week at New Hampshire, Steve.
It was impressive from the
Moving on to the round of 8, does that give you a little more latitude if you're Jonathan Hassler to say, hey, you know, we'll try some things the next couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, it does, but to Jeff's point, you know, it's still your race car driver sitting in there. So I don't think a crew chief does anything that he thinks is dangerous or outside the edge. But I definitely think his anxiety, he could be a little bit, you know, closer to the edge. Bubba Wallace, third in practice so far, 7 laps complete. I will say that yellow kind of messes up this whole run for all of these cars. They now have a cooling cycle on their tires, but Bubba Wallace really jumped. When you look at the speed on the left-hand side, you see all the playoff drivers kind of highlighted. He's all the way up in third, and man, you talk about tracks that just kind of fit. It seemed like it was Kansas for Bubba Wallace, but I will admit the last 4 trips here, there's 2 finishes outside the top 30 and 2 finishes of 17th. So whenever the magic or the luster of the polish for 2311 definitely has tarnished a little bit in the last couple of years.
Same for teammate Tyler Reddick. You know, you think about him, I think about this racetrack as well, but the last few events haven't gone well for him. He also.
Yeah, NASCAR made some aero changes to the car, and just really seems like 2311, who was dominant here at Kansas for a couple of years, just has not been able to get the magic back. But you look at minus 27, Jeff. I mean, this team kind of desperately needs a good run on Sunday. I don't know if they need to win necessarily, but they need a good run with the Roval coming up, both Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, you're right. They don't need a win, but they need stage points, and they need a good finish, right? You cannot go out and qualify 22nd and run, you know, run mid-teens. Tyler Reddick pitting early in this practice. That's never a good sign, Danielle.
Yeah, Jeff, I talked to Tyler Reddick's crew chief, Billy Scott, this morning. He said this does feel like a must-win for us because passing 3 cars in points at the Roval is going to be tough because that is the most difficult place to try to make up points. In terms of preparation for this, what they're calling a must-win tomorrow, he said Tyler spent more time at the shop this week than normal. We had deep, long conversations. We dove into data more and focused on more of the details. Tyler knows he has to be more focused this weekend than others.
And it's, You know, it's really hard because sometimes you need to try harder and sometimes you just need to be more patient and let it come to you. I do think they bring up a good point. Danielle mentions not just where he is in points, but how many people are ahead of him.
Yeah.
I do think that's a difference. Like 27 first below the cut line versus 27 three below the, you know, 3 different positions below the cut line is tough. Since the restart, Hamlin's jumped to 3rd. He ran his fastest lap on lap 7. This has the makings of a Denny Hamlin weekend. I don't know, the more chaos surrounds him, the better it seems like he runs.
He's been so good at this track, too. 4 wins at Kansas, most all-time of anyone. You know, Steve, kind of my question for the 11 team this weekend, I know they'll have the speed, no question about it, and they can, you know, Denny always does a very good job of kind of eliminating the distractions off track, to your point, but the pit crew, they'll have substitute pit crew members, substitute front tire changer, and a new jackman this weekend coming over from the 4 team, which is a Joe Gibbs Racing development crew. So how will that change the game for the 11 team this weekend?
Well, the only positive is that, as you mentioned, they've been pitting the 4 of Noah Gragson. So, you know, these teams like Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick Motorsports, Finger teams, Team Penske, their pit crew departments are so deep with so many different players anymore that it's a little bit more like a college football team. One wide receiver runs off, another one runs on, who definitely has reps. Now, he's not the starter, but he has reps. So I will say it is going to be a step down. There's a reason why those 2 were the starters, but I don't think it's going to be game-changing. You know, I think the goal for this 11 team is to kind of make it where it's not all on the pit crew, right? You don't need to gain positions. Just don't lose them. Just try to hold serve.
Good to hear that Ryan Blaney is out of the Infield Care Center and with you, Dave.
Yeah, walked out under his own power, Marty. What happened? What happened, Ryan?
Yeah, blew a tire. So, yeah, we have to look at it and kind of see why that was. And hate that we crashed the race car and stuff like that. But, yeah, we'll take a peek at what we need to do differently and hopefully come from the back tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to getting the race going tomorrow.
I know sometimes you start practices on low pressure. Did that one seem unusual at all? Extra squishy from the start or anything like that?
Not really. I wouldn't say I really had like any feel of something kind of off until right before it went, honestly. So it kind of had that normal feeling to it until it blew. That's kind of the hard thing about, you know, when you blow tires like that, like they don't feel way off and then they just kind of give out, you know, next moment. So I didn't have any kind of caution beforehand. Just unfortunate. Hate that we got to, you know, get a backup out and do all that deal. But we'll fight through it. And like I said, I just look forward to getting out there tomorrow and see what we got.
Thanks, Ryan. Before we spoke, he acknowledged to me that he is okay, guys.
Good to hear from him, and glad he's out of the Infield Care Center, but a lot of work ahead left for the 12 team today to get that backup car ready for tomorrow afternoon.
Go back.
So if you take a look again, I was watching this a couple times. This is before the tire goes completely flat. Watch the 22 go through this bump, no issue. Now watch the 12. Right here, it kind of bottoms out. Boom. See that right there? That little bit of smoke. Now he's still going at speed. Still going at speed. You know, he's rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and now the right rear finally gives up. So to your point, Jeff, either he ran something over and it was a slow leak, or the tire was damaged in a slow leak. But there is an example. The 22 and the 12 run through the same bump. The 22 doesn't bottom out. A few hundred feet later, the 12's tire finally gives up. So it was definitely low on air. Now that can happen from a puncture or a failure, but the result's still the same.
Meanwhile, Joey Logano still churning out laps on the track. What an impressive New Hampshire it was for that race team, Jeff. How does it feel, though, when you're the team that goes and does the tire test, you're the team that develops all the information, you hand it to a teammate, and then a teammate beats you with said information?
Well, it doesn't feel great, but you did have a day that you needed to have in regard to points, so that was good. But I got to tell you something. We have seen this from this team a lot this year. They are not good at all right now. They are 35th fastest. His lap, his 19th lap was a 32.20. That is over half a second off of what Denny Hamlin is running right now. They do not have the pace in this car. The one car of Chastain easily got by him. Now look, I've also seen from this team, they'll make changes, qualify well, get done what they need to get done. But so far, they have not unloaded with the speed they need.
This was the race in this round that Paul Wolf was worried about, Steve. I mean, he felt like at the Roval they could keep pace, but here at Kansas, this is the race they kind of had circled as their concern.
Well, his concerns to be real. Just no raw speed and falling off as well.
Dave, what's going on with the 22?
A couple quick things from the radio. Joey was being coached on where everyone else is quicker, and a lot of that was corner entry, but Joey just piped back to the crew. Can't seem to get it off the limiter. So, Steve, when you reach the limit to where the engine will take the car, is it a gearing thing?
I wonder if it is they all have to run the same gear. So whether he's not shifting or shifting in a different pattern, or the limiter he's talking to is the rear shock limiter, because there are some limits of the suspension. I can't believe it would be just an engine limiter unless they have a different setting. Now remember, while they do have to run the same gearing and there is a hard limit.
That's why I can't carry speed. Then I'm tight through the corner from there, tight from the center to the 2/3 in load up.
Those are all pretty normal comments. So, you know, while the gearing is the same on every car and there's a hard limit set by NASCAR, the engine manufacturers can set their own as well. But at the pace he's running, if the limiter's the issue, then they got some bigger issues because he needs to go about 3/4 of a second faster.
Now his teammate, on the other hand, Austin Cindric, he's only 20th fastest overall, but his 21st lap, you know, was pretty competitive. He was right where, a little bit off of Hamlin, a little bit off of Larson, but the last lap he just ran was right there on top of what Denny Hamlin's running. So the 2 car, they've unloaded with better speed, and they have long run speed that's a little better also. So remember, no information coming from the 12. The 22 is bad. They're not running the way they need to run. This 2 car is going to be the center of focus when this practice is over. The 21 car, you know, it is a team car per se. Josh Berry, he's only run 15 laps, so they're clearly not very happy with their car. In the meeting, there's going to be a lot of conversations about, all right, what is your car doing? What do you like? What do you don't like? A lot of information will come from them.
It's a lot of heat on a young driver to kind of carry it for the organization, but that's a great point.
It's better than being the guy that isn't good.
Yes, exactly.
I'd rather be young and fast. I can deal with that. Young and slow is a problem.
Well, he's young, but he still has 145 starts. Like when I look at Austin anymore, you know, at 27, he doesn't have the experience of his teammates, but he's nowhere near a rookie anymore.
The car that stands out to me right now is the 5 car of Larson. I feel like he is the best car. A few less laps. He's on pit road right now, but I feel like he's the best car of this group. Now he didn't run this out, so wanted to come in and make a change, but up until that point, I thought he was the best car.
That's the problem I have. Between the caution and everything else, I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's hard to read it, isn't it, Steve, once you refire on tires, and a lot of these teams had a couple of laps on their tires.
Well, I'm just going to go out on a limb that they're going to be good.
I think
wow,
that's very
throw it
safe.
out there.
Woo, boy, you get way out there. Big
Yeah.
upset alert.
Remind me to let you set my DraftKings lineup, right?
Big upset alert.
Hey, how about Chase Elliott? What a rally for that team. And Steve, I loved the accountability from Chase Elliott in my post-race interview with him last Sunday. He said, hey, I've got to do a better job on Saturdays. I cannot keep putting us in this hole when it comes to qualifying and missing out on these stage points. They only have 8 stage points the entire playoff, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, his accountability is great. Now the question is, how does it happen? You know, I think he knows it. The team knows it. I'm sure they're working at it. But what are the magic knobs? Because everybody else, they're trying to run around. Now we have the 22 slow on the racetrack.
Oh, tire down, Joey Logano says.
Yeah, right rear looks flat to me.
Let's take a look at it, Jeff.
You know, remember, he had come down pit road. He's come back off of pit road, and right here he knows he has a problem. You see the smoke coming out of the back of the car. He was fortunate to catch it.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, what happens when you run low on air is, and I've used this analogy before, the corner from the sidewall to the tread, some of the belts in there, it's a little bit like a coat hanger. And if you just try to break a coat hanger, impossible to do. You're not strong enough. But if you bend it time after time after time, it finally gets weak enough that it just breaks in 2. So the belts in the corner of that tire are a little bit like the same way. If you run too low on air, think about that coat hanger analogy. You are basically stressing a tire over where it needs to be. Now, it only has to be a smidge over where it needs to be on stress, and then you stretch it enough, and the air doesn't build up to protect it, and then something cracks, And then it's like running something over, Jeff, right? What happens is then the air starts to trickle out. Remember, they don't have air pressure sensors like we see in Formula One or even in IndyCar or IMSA where they're reading live air pressure. So Joey doesn't know the air pressure is going down until all of a sudden he obviously feels it, which he did that time. And then right there, you saw that guy plug that air bottle into the A-post on the back of the car pop up. So that's a new system they started running last year where they can, with an external air system, jack the car up, get it up off the ground so Joey can drive back to pit road. Now it's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah. Let's ride on board with Joey Logano. We have a replay, I believe, of what happened just a moment ago when he lost the right rear. Here it is. Boy, what a catch by Joey Logano, getting it to the apron just in time. Back with more of Group B practice here in just a moment.
Rides violent, but because you're not dragging the diffuser as much as you would if you hook it up to a wrecker, it's better to do this to get it back to pit road. Try to do as little damage as possible, but there's no way there's not damage done, I would think, to the rear diffuser, and I'm sure they'll have to look at it, Steve.
Yeah, when the tire goes flat at 160 miles an hour, even if you do as good a job as Joey did, I'm sure it's drugged some parts off. The team will have to look at it and see what choices they have for qualifying and what changes have to be made for the race.
One thing's for sure, now that Penske's had 2 tires go down, you have to, it's air pressure, right? You have to assume it's air pressure.
Right.
And so now the team, like, now your setup's changed, right? Because now the assumption has to be it's air pressure. So now we got to raise air pressure up. So how's that going to make our cars drive differently, Dave? That's a question they're going to be asking all night.
For sure, Jeff, and even though I have not seen the setup sheets on the Penske cars, the 2 included, out of an abundance of caution right now, crew chief Brian Wilson is keeping the 2 of Cindric on pit lane. I'm told by the team they don't plan on going out here, which is probably a good move.
I think it's really smart, Steve. You've had 2 teammates have problems, one of them going back out the second time. So you just have to recognize the situation and don't send your car out there, because you can't look at the tire and know if it's damaged or not unless you take it off the wheel, and they obviously can't do that. So Brian Wilson, in my eyes, that's a really good decision.
William Byron just 23rd quick, Steve, and that's a little surprising to me considering the last mile and a half, the Coke 600 way back in May, if we can remember back that far. He was dominant. I mean, really had the car to beat the entire weekend and lost in the last few moments to Ross Chastain.
He had the car to beat until it was time to get beat.
Yep.
And then the one made some adjustments and ran him down, and it was devastating blow to this 24. Remember, they did the same thing at Darlington in the spring. They got beat in the closing lap, so a couple near misses. They've since put that behind them and gone to victory lane, but I don't think they're as bad as the fast lap entails. This practice is a disaster, to be quite honest, with the 2 yellows. So you can't look at anything.
Yeah.
Rudy Fugel right there. I saw him earlier in the garage area. Had just a brief conversation, and he seemed upbeat, pretty focused, like not super talkative, but just ready to go. Every answer was direct and to the point, and I like that. He looked very focused at the task at hand, ready for the challenge ahead. And I don't think they're great, but I don't think they're awful. I think they're kind of in the mix. Probably adjustments needed, Dave.
And Steve, they're still in there swinging away. They made a change that the driver didn't like. He said, I feel like we overshot it. It's tight loading into the corner, bound up. The start balance was good. So there you go, crew chief. You've got a start balance that the driver liked better, but then a little bit too much tightness at the end of the run.
Yeah, and like I said, the problem is we've had 2 cautions. So what do we know? I mean, it's really hard. Really, really, really hard. If you go out and run 20 straight, you have a really good data, really good sample set. You know, if you try to do some sort of testing in the lab, you try to get rid of all the variables. Well, I can tell you 2 yellows and a set of tires is a huge variable. So you're going to be very, very careful on what you take for information.
Jeff, for your money, does Hendrick Motorsports kind of need to, get a little spark here, if you will? I mean, I think New Hampshire was a great turnaround for that team. The first round was not great for Hendrick. Do they need a little spark to kind of insert themselves into the championship conversation?
Well, I can tell you this, other teams are going to step up. We've seen it every year in the playoffs. Teams find a way to be better. So, yes, they have to assume they've got to find some speed. And remember, we have the Roval coming quickly. So you better gain as many points as you can this weekend because anything can happen there.
The counter I would say is until you eliminate them, then they are in the championship conversation. So the counter is they need to run faster. The counter is they're not running very fast and you still can't eliminate them. So I don't is the glass half full or half empty? I don't think I know. Listen, the 12 car just whipped everybody at New Hampshire, which is very similar to Phoenix.
Yes,
that's already on everybody's radar, but you still have to get to Phoenix. So, there's still just a lot it's a long, long playoffs.
Only halfway through the playoffs. This is the halfway point of the 2025 playoffs. This round started with New Hampshire, won by Ryan Blaney last weekend, already advanced.
Yeah, Marty, Bubba Wallace, one of the fastest in that practice session, just diagnosing some of the issues that he had in the run with his crew chief. Bubba, what did you enjoy about the car, and what are you struggling with?
I don't like anything about it.
But you are so fast. It's almost top of the board. Something went right.
I got lucky. Tyler gave me a good tow. This was like Speedway qualifying. I got a good tow. No, really good U.S. Air Force Camry. Our Saturdays have been really good here last few races. The Sundays have not. So let's keep everything status quo and not get ahead of ourselves, but really, really good, strong, can maneuver. So, yeah, go on to qualify now.
With your points position, Bubba, below the cut line, do you look at this as a must-win situation, or how would you like to leave here?
Yeah, I think, I got asked this in the media center 2 years ago when I was in. I would be sweating bullets like this is a must-win. We're not in a must-win at all. But this is a track where this breeds a lot of confidence for us, a lot of success. So I'm already wanting to win here and get back on track. And so the little brain inside of me right now is like, let's go win this damn thing. But there's a bigger picture, bigger spectrum to be fully aware of. And a good points day, solid run, inside top 5 will be just fine for heading into Roval.
I see a little bit of a smile there. He won this race in 2022, Dave Burns.
Austin Cindric's car is in one piece, and it looks like all 4 tires are up. Did you feel anything strange during that practice?
Nothing in particular. Obviously, difficult session for the team and a lot to go over before tomorrow. But overall, our discount tire Ford Mustang had some decent speed in it. I think enough to kind of do what we need to. So still definitely have some adjustments to make. I think to make it a little bit better. But a bit of a concerning session in a lot of ways as a team. But this place is pretty crazy for that, I guess.
Did you see some positives then for the race in practice with speed, pace, balance in your 2 car?
No, for sure. I thought I was pretty versatile and move around the track. And obviously the pace kind of backed it up. I don't know where we're at on averages or whatever, but from the seat, felt all right. But I think there's more to gain.
Thanks, Austin.
Boy, you could tell the concern on his face, Steve, couldn't you? Like he's thinking about, man, what's going on here?
Little concern and doing a nice job of answering the questions with dancing around a little bit, trying not to say the wrong thing.
I thought Bubba Wallace, I mean, there was a point in practice I didn't think they were very good, but by the end of practice, I thought he and his teammate Tyler Reddick, they had made their cars better. I thought they were much more competitive than they were. I know he laid a lap time down, but there was one portion where they didn't seem to have good longer run speed, but by the time practice ended, it was much better.
Qualifying coming up. Oh, I mean, you think with the Ravens coming. Oh, I mean, you think with the Ravens coming into town and the Ravens not playing very well and kind of angry, they might be a little bit worried, Steve?
Or
what do you think?
Because the Chiefs just have not had a very good start to the year.
I know that, I know, and nor have the Ravens. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, beating the Giants doesn't count.
Yeah, well, that's again, you're making my point. J.J. Haley trying to make will make his 8th start of the year this weekend. Now, Jeff, qualifying for the Xfinity cars was very eventful. I mean, every driver from start to finish had their hands full. Will we see that in Cup qualifying today?
The track's really slick. We'll certainly see some people try to get more out of the car than the grip allows. J.J. Haley, a smart, smooth lap right here. And as a Panther fan, as many losses as we've had the last many years,
really.
I have no sympathy for the Chiefs when they're losing.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, we got a big matchup this weekend.
We do.
Yes, we do. Panthers versus Patriots. This is
a big booth disagreement this weekend.
Yes, it is a big disagreement this week. Jeff Burton's not allowed to give me Panthers updates unless they're winning. So
we don't talk a lot Sundays.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we talk about racing on Sundays. Daniel Suarez on the track. Man, I just feel for this race team, Jeff. They just need something good to happen. 3 straight finishes, 35th or worse. At this point, you know, talking to Matt Swiderski, the crew chief, they just need to finish a race.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Remember, Daniel's not coming back to this team next year, so you're also not building something into next year, right? So you're just trying to get through the chaos, and everybody's heads are, you know, in the right direction. Nobody's giving up, but when you have that much bad luck stack up on you, it's just hard to ignore it. It's hard to move forward.
Suarez goes to the top over Yaley. Dave, I believe you've caught up with Joey Logano.
I have, Marty, and Joey's right rear gave him a little better place to be notified than your teammate, Ryan Blaney. What did you feel?
I just felt it starting to feel funky through 3 and 4 there. It started kind of just didn't feel right, and so I took it a little safe and sorry and lifted off of the corner, and then it really came apart. So glad I caught it there, got a little lucky, but you know, overall it should be okay with the Shell Pencil Mustang. We'll put 4 tires on it and make some adjustments, cross our fingers, and hope she runs good.
You said should be okay. Have they assured you that it's good to go for qualifying?
If it was bad enough, they'd tell me. If it's a little bit, they're probably not going to tell me. So I'll strap in and hammer down like everything's fine.
I guess that's why he's paid to do this, guys.
Jeff, what's that like as a driver? Oh, trust us, it'll be fine. It'll be good.
That was perfect. I was laughing when he was talking because, like, yep, that's right. When something's not right, they're probably not going to say, hey, man, you just take it a little bit easy here. It's not going to happen, right? You have to trust that the car is going to be there. Look, the team's not going to send him out in some kind of situation where they know they got a major problem, but they're also not going to say, hey, we're not 100% optimized, right? So, yeah, Joey's done this long enough to know he knows he has a job to go do, and he's going to go do it.
Jeff Gordon told me a long time ago that crashing at 95% feels a whole lot like crashing at 100%. So we might as well just go 100% and do this once.
Yeah, that's the thing about, hey, to go out there and take it easy, see how, that doesn't work. Car drives bad when you take it easy. Good lap right here by Justin Haley.
Yeah, nice lap.
They've shown some speed lately. They really have. They haven't been able to complete races. It's been a very tough year for Justin and this team, but there has been lately signs of speed. They just can't put all of the race together.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, John Henry Nemechek on the track, Steve.
I was just going back and kind of looking at the speed of this car at this track. We've seen some mid to high 29s, some low 30s, and then all of a sudden in the spring, Kyle Larson at a 29.39, a 29.4, which set the track record for this car at this track. So it's a warmer day. I would have thought we'd have had a better chance if it was a kind of a normal Kansas City fall speed. At 80-something degrees, according to our man Dave on the ground, who Marty then told him it was a comfortable 82 from the booth.
It's the humidity, Steve. It's the humidity.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's not very windy. Like, it's a pretty calm, windy day here. I mean, really, conditions-wise, other than overall grip because of the temperature, the lack of wind, which can be a big challenge here, we'll see. We'll see what somebody can run today. I think it'll be in the 29s.
Marty loves the weather today, and tomorrow he'll be complaining about it because he'll be out in it.
It's about 72 degrees in the booth, a little bit, about 10 degrees cooler than it is where Dave is standing on pit road.
The lap right here by Ty Gibbs. You know, we talked a lot about the incident that happened last week and the potential distractions that it causes for Denny Hamlin, but it also causes for this young man, right? He's trying to get his first win. He's trying to establish himself as a guy that can contend for races and win races, and that's a big distraction for him also. So being able to put that behind you is a skill you have to learn.
And I think that's been Ty's point the entire time. I'm fighting for something as well. I'm trying to get that first career win, Danielle.
Marty, I'm with Tyler Reddick. He's keeping a close eye on qualifying. Goes out in just a bit. Your crew chief, Billy Scott, told me this morning, Tyler, he considers this a must-win, or that's how he'd like to look at it, given your position below the cut. How confident are you can deliver that after you felt the car in practice?
I think we certainly have a little work still to do. It does seem like our beast-rated Camry has good speed. We've certainly got some work cut out for us, I think, on the handling. So, yeah, we'll just try and, look back at practice for us, pay attention to what our teammates did, just kind of go through it accordingly. I feel like it's really important for the feedback to be accurate, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what I was feeling out there. And just initially, it seems like we have a pretty good idea of what direction to go on our Camry going into the race.
He won here in 2023, guys. Tyler Reddick certainly knows how to get it done.
Yeah, lately, though, this has not been a terrific track for 2311 Racing. They haven't had a top 10 here since 2023. Riding on board with Kyle Busch for his qualifying lap, Jeff.
Did a good job into turn one. Used a lot of racetrack. Right against the wall. Just doesn't have the pace anywhere near he expects to be.
Man, for a guy who has 9 major touring series wins here at Kansas, they have not had it lately. Kyle Busch, 4th quickest so far, and got to be wondering what direction they need to go to find some speed for this 18. Zane Smith was pretty impressive in practice, Steve. Let's see if he can back it up here in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be all about just kind of a momentum type lap. Carries really good speed in, about a lane lower. Commits to the throttle on exit. No real waver in the green. You see over there at the speed, over 190 miles an hour into turn 3. Same thing straddling that seam as Dave talked about, kind of 3 distinct lines here. Oh, but he has to bail out of the gas right there. You saw him chop the gas, ran out of real estate, and that's it. 0.3 of a second is what that lift cost him.
Boy, that margin of error is so thin, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it really is. So right there, see the car just steps out just a little bit, and he's got to come out of the throttle. That or wreck it.
No? I'll take not wrecking it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're doing. You're operating and qualifying. You're just operating on the edge of grip. When you feel that grip start fading away, it's not going to come back unless you get the car slowed down.
Yeah, I mean, look at the amount of throttle, right? It's just a little lift and right back to the throttle. Same thing, I'm guessing, down here, just one little lift. And right back to it. And when you get to it, you need to stick wide open. That's really the key. No, you can't do it either. One little breathe.
Well, you can see how Ty Gibbs was so good through turns 3 and 4. For SVG, it's going to wind up 3rd quick, though, after the impressive qualifying effort last week at New Hampshire. Ty Gibbs, the fastest so far here at Kansas Speedway. Plenty more qualifying. pretty much carbon copy of this today. Love the weather that we're having here in the heartland this weekend. Eric Jones, a guy who really impressed you, Jeff, in practice, taking his qualifying lap here.
Yeah, we all know how important qualifying is. You can have a fast car on a long run, but you don't qualify well, it makes it that much more difficult. Saturday qualifying sessions have become extremely stressful for everybody.
A lot of pressure on where you start, pit stall selection, a lot goes into everything these days.
He's close enough to Gibbs to make something happen.
This area of the track goes where Ty Gibbs seems to have gotten everyone. Let's see what Eric Jones can do down here. Pretty good. Not quite enough, though. Eric Jones goes second, Dave.
Marty, I look at Chase Briscoe's playoff so far, and I think this is a challenging playoff format. All top 10s for you, and you're the guy on the cut line. How can that be?
I don't know. That's just the nature of the beast, I guess, with how the playoffs are, and especially with the round resets, right? It just kind of reflips everything after 3 races. So yeah, we've had a lot of speed with our Bass Pro Shops, Tracker Toyota, and great finishes. Just need 2 more the next 2 weeks to keep moving on. So yeah, it's I don't know, I thought my car was pretty good in practice. It's been a good day so far. I actually woke up this morning and went fishing with Johnny and JP. So National Hunting and Fishing Day, and started the morning off fishing there. So yeah, it's been a good day so far, and hopefully can cap it off with a pole.
Catch anything?
Oh yeah, it's hard to not bend a rod when you're fishing with them guys. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Very good.
I was going to say, when you fish with Johnny Morris and JP, you're probably going to catch a couple of fish. But Stevie talks about the reset. To me, that goes back to the work that happens in the regular season. Yes, they had an outstanding first round of the playoffs as we ride on board with Riley Herbst, but really it goes back to the work you did in the regular season. That's what the reset's all about.
Yeah, how many playoff points you gained? You can gain some in that first round, but it wasn't quite enough to kind of move them above.
Well, and he only got 2 stage points last week.
Yeah.
He finished at 2 points in the second stage, so he didn't qualify as well, didn't run as well as he needed to during the race. It's not just about finishes, it's how well you run during the race.
Oh, into the fence.
Riley Herbst into the wall there.
Yeah, a little bit. He didn't have a whole lot of space there. He jumped back at the gas, and the car just walked up a little bit. Just qualifying on the top, there's just not a lot of room. Both Goodyear tires are taken off. Jeff, it seems normal here, but he jumps back in the gas, and it goes for his drift.
Yeah, just trying to maximize the lap. Ran well in 1 and 2. I mean, it wasn't pole speed, but a good lap through 1 and 2, and just ask a little more of his car here in 3 and 4, and it just did not stick for him.
Boy, that hit seems so innocuous when you're kind of watching it from these cameras on the roof, Jeff, but when you're on board, it has a whole different feel to it.
Yeah, and they'll have to do an assessment. Was there any damage?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking his qualifying lap.
Innocuous. That's a Nate Ryan word. You threw it right out there.
That's a quarter word,
That's why I gave a short answer. I wasn't real sure what he was talking about.
Man, you're talking to a couple nickels over here, man. You guys are used to
relax
down a little.
Nice lap for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Really good lap.
Quick. Danielle, I believe you found the man probably to beat here at Kansas.
Yeah, he was fastest in pretty much every overall lap average in practice. Kyle, I know you're about to put a qualifying lap down, a 3-time winner here in Kansas. This is also the site of your last win 18 races ago. Do you have the car, and how badly are you itching to get another one?
I mean, yes, we're always itching to get a win. But yeah, I mean, I thought my car felt pretty good. I was tight the first run, and then a little bit too edgy the second run, and then over-adjusted again and got too tight the third run we did. So I feel like we're within the range that we need to be. Just got to narrow in on the balance of our HinderCars.com Chevy, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend here. So it seems quite a bit hotter, and the pace is a little bit slower than the spring. So just trying to figure out how much throttle to run here in qualifying to execute a good lap and hopefully get a good starting spot.
Right now, he certainly, Marty, feels like the man to beat here at Kansas, looking for a sweep in 2025.
Brad Kozlowski taking the green, Danielle and Steve. I love how Kyle kind of casually mentions the 3 runs there. That's only because of those 2 cautions in that practice session did they have 3 runs. Normally, you would just want to do 1 long run in a practice session.
Yeah, you see how close the car is on balance. They kind of jumped over the center line twice there. Interesting, when he says how much throttle to use, I think
Is that because of the slower, hotter conditions that he mentioned?
Well, slower, so then what they expect. Because sometimes, this is crazy to say, but sometimes I think you need to know as a driver, Jeff, that we expect part throttle to let the car settle, then to actually drive it through. You know, you can almost carry too much throttle and get your lift point too far around the corner.
Well, exactly. You really, until you send it down in there. Brad Keselowski this lap is not what he wanted. The center 1 and 2, look how high up the racetrack he gets.
Fire out the pipes.
Yeah, had to come out of the throttle.
Yeah, they really haven't had speed this weekend, Jeff, and they were pretty quick here in May.
Yeah, just ahead of him, Todd Gilliland win. He had a good lap. That's been a struggle for that team.
Yep.
He's 5th fastest right now. This is a good lap right here if he can stay in the gas.
Yeah, I was wondering. He did a nice job.
Noah Gregson 10th at the last mile and a half in May, and
there.
Had a good lap going until 3 and 4 there, Dave.
William Byron hops out of the 24, getting ready for your lap coming up. And I heard you mention over the radio in practice overshot an adjustment, but did you have it before that adjustment?
Yeah, I think this tire is kind of throwing the balance for a little bit of a loop, so just trying to get all the entry, middle, and exit kind of together. But yeah, I think overall our start balance wasn't that far off, and just had that early caution, and then just kind of tried some different stuff adjustment-wise to see what we can learn. So yeah, so far so good. Feels like Kansas. Feels maybe a little less grip, but should hopefully just go out there and put down a good qualifying lap and nail both ends of the track. It seems like 3 and 4 is pretty difficult.
Great. Thanks, William. Steve, interesting project for these teams. They're familiar with this right side tire, but not at this track. First time.
Yeah, and some consistency helps, but not knowing it on a worn out surface like this makes a big difference. And you could hear there was a lot going on in that answer.
Yeah,
it was a simple question.
Yeah.
It's a simple question for the grip's a little low, well, the tire's a little different. Well, I got to nail both ends. 3 and 4 seems a little bit like there was a lot. And I think that's William just being very cordial and giving his time to the fans there. But you can almost hear the processing continually going on in the head of the driver, the 24. And I think that's what it takes to be successful. This one has a chance. Good 1 and 2. Little shallow entry into 3 and 4. We'll see if that works.
Seems like the track's been picking up a little bit of speed here. Let's see what Buescher can do with it. Chris Buescher winds up 4th quickest overall. So qualifying continuing here. Playoff.
It'd be
fun.
That'd be a Ralph situation.
So I'm afraid of heights, and you get motion sickness.
Yeah.
That's why you always have to ride in the front seat then.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's why I like hanging out with y'all. Y'all make me feel normal.
We got problems, Jeff.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, if y'all make me feel normal, you do have right.
I think Chase Elliott might have won that remote control car race, and Danielle's with the winner of said remote control car race. He probably doesn't even know, though, Danielle.
NASCAR's most popular driver, they're talking about a remote control car race that you may have won. Fill me in, Chase.
I couldn't hear you, but it sounded about a remote control car race. I'll take any win I can get, so hopefully it's going good over there. But beautiful day for it. Good day to be at the racetrack, for sure.
13th overall in that practice, Chase. How do you feel about the car, and what's it going to take to put it here on the pole?
Yeah, it's been okay. I feel like we did some good things, but I feel like we need to kind of fine-tune the balance a little bit. But, yeah, I feel like it has seemingly a lot of potential in it. We just got to kind of put all that together. So hopefully we can just get a good solid start, you know, here today. Something inside the top 10 would be great to get a good pit stall for tomorrow, and then kind of think through things tonight and go to work. So, yeah, cross our fingers, hope for the best.
There it is, Chase Elliott, Marty. A lot of folks looking for Hendrick Motorsports to punch that first ticket into victory lane in the playoffs. We'll see if the 9 can do it tomorrow.
You know, Jeff, I hear a lot of drivers who really seem like they're thinking about that practice session. Like that tire maybe threw them a bit more of a curveball than they expected.
This is a very slick mile-and-a-half racetrack. This is not a high grip, just jump in the gas, tons of grip racetrack. It's one that feels like a short track. So the cars aren't going to drive well. They're just not. Your car just has to drive better than everybody else's, but everyone's going to be making sacrifices and compromises because of the limited grip.
And it was messy. It was a messy practice with 2 yellows.
Point. Yeah.
I mean, it really does throw it off.
Alex Bowman goes 5th quickest as Carson Hocevar takes to the track. He's had some good runs lately, Steve. I mean, they've had some speed. It's just finishing the races and putting them all together. But if there's a track where this 77 team has really shined, it's been these intermediates and mile-and-a-halves.
Yeah, every time I talk to anyone from the Spire camp, they talk, and I bring up the speed being a positive, they just remind me that the execution isn't quite there yet. And that's part of growing. You know, you have to consistently bring speed. It's easy to execute outside the top 20, as he did a nice 3 and 4. Look at this. Look at big fast.
Look at that.
There you go, 30-22. There you go. That's execution. Fast race car. Great job by the driver.
Spire has 2 mile-and-a-half poles this year. Could it be a 3rd mile-and-a-half pole?
Corner exit speed was so fast off 4.
Did you hear Hocevar? Whew. After that lap was over with.
That's a lot.
These drivers have their hands full, man.
Yeah, you gotta go out, and we talked about it before. You have to just trust your car is going to stick. You have to drive it hard, jump back in the throttle quickly. Just hope it stays there. We've seen several cars, you know, drivers ask their car to do something, the car just simply wouldn't do it. A decent lap right here, not great,
but much better than his teammate Kyle Busch.
Yes.
And that's really the question mark I have for RCR is the 8s struggled, well documented, but I just don't see a consistency between the 2 cars. In the 71, we talked, they had inspection issues earlier. They failed a couple times and were found tinkering with the car after inspection, so they've lost their crew chief. Travis Peterson was ejected. Matt McCall on top of the pit box, so while they will qualify, they will have to do a stop and go once the race starts, and they lose their pit stall selection. One could argue this qualifying right here is just a little bit about pride more than anything.
Well, he's doing a good job. It was a really good 1 and 2. Sent it down in turn 3. Let's see if he can carry the speed on corner exit. Nope, can't quite get there.
Boy, lost just a little bit coming off turn 4, and it just kind of built to the line, but a nice qualifying effort for Michael McDowell. Goes 11th. Could have been much better had he completed that 3 and 4, Steve.
Well, if you ask why even qualify, remember they can transfer these scuffs if they weren't scuffed. If they didn't run, they would actually lose a set of tires. So you have to run that qualifying lap to have the same amount of tires as everyone else.
Well, what a confusing playoffs it has been for Josh Berry. I mean, finished last in the first 3 races, was eliminated after those 3 races, Jeff, and then goes out and finishes 2nd last week at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I had a really fast race car last week. Went to the back. That one time got spun out, and he went to the back and drove up through the field. And this is a good qualifying lap.
Don't forget they finished 6th here in May, Jeff.
Oh yeah, this is where they're really good. Remember, he, won early in the year on a 1.5 miles. Has a lot of speed on 1.5 miles, and this gives also some information to Joey Logano as well as Cindric. Blaney, we saw he crashed in practice, so he will not make a lap.
4th quickest for Josh Berry, as now we get into the playoff drivers with Bubba Wallace.
It is amazing how fast they enter turn 1. I mean, they just flying. The center of the corner speed is so fast. Look at this. 191. Watch the center of the corner speed. I mean, it only goes to 175. I mean, you are flying around here.
Bubba Wallace looked impressive on the longer run. Here in qualifying, he goes 2nd. Just a little shy of what Carson Hocevar has done.
I'm wondering how fast they're going to go. We were kind of talking about it in the break, and I thought they'd be down in the 29s. I said it earlier in qualifying. Now, we still have a wave of cars to go, but that's a big chunk of pickup.
Do you mean that for the 2nd time that we've done this poll, I might be right? Steve, is that what you're trying to say?
Let's just let Tyler Reddick finish his lap real quick first before I say one way or the other.
Oh, what a great shot on board with Tyler Reddick, and also on that spoiler cam. Green for a while there, Jeff. Let's see what he can do in 3 and 4.
Oh, back to the throttle really early. Breathing it. Just had to stay out of the gas a little too long. He went back really quickly, carried speed to the center, but then just couldn't execute on corner exit. Had to come back out of the throttle.
Had a shot at it, winds up 5th for Tyler Reddick.
That tells me there's speed out there. Somebody's going to have that entry speed that Reddick had and be able to finish the corner.
It's a big weekend for Cindric. You think of Cindric being a good road racer, but really hasn't had the numbers to back it up. With the Roval coming next week, this weekend is super important for this team.
He's been green this entire lap. Let's see if he can keep it up. Down here has been the trouble spot for everybody, Jeff.
Well, entry speed wasn't a problem. To see if it'll stay turning, if he can stay in the gas. The center of the corner was really good.
Oh, little brush with the wall there. And then he loses all of his time after that moment.
So let me get this straight. Blaney wrecks, the 22 has a flat tire, and the 2 brushes the wall. It's been a busy day for Team Penske.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
And that's more than a brush. I mean, watch the right front. That's what I'm concerned about. The right rear catches, and then the right front. They're going to have to just take a look and make sure it hasn't damaged the splitter at all.
Go back to last week at New Hampshire. He thought he had a fast race car, didn't execute in qualifying, was really upset at himself. And now here again today, not a good lap. Denny Hamlin, he's on a flyer.
Clearly green for Hamlin through 3 and 4, and gaining time, it looks like, on Hocevar.
Oh, my goodness.
What a lap. You might be right, Steve. Somebody might get into the 29s. Is it Denny Hamlin? Close. 30.088 for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, that car just kind of pivoted in the middle of 3 and 4, and when he got back to wide open, it didn't look comfortable, but it looked turning enough that he could stay in the gas.
Yeah, your quick survey on the right rear damage for the 2 there, Steve?
Yeah, they're going to have to look at it. I bet they're going to want to check the toe. Pretty damaged when you look at the wheel. Chase Briscoe.
Never all the way out of the throttle.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to take. We saw Denny Hamlin had such a great 1 and 2, and Briscoe's basically matched it into 3.
Breathing it just barely, but losing time to his teammate.
Got to be happy with this lap, though. It's coming back.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Chase Briscoe to the line.
All right, P1.
Barely kicks his teammate. What a recovery in the middle of 3 and 4, Jeff.
I think he actually gave it a beat. He didn't jump right back to the gas. He gave it like an extra 50 or 100 feet. So when he did, Jeff, get back to the gas, he could easily just turn off the wall.
Kind of the opposite we saw with Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick immediately back into the throttle. Now look, Reddick, the cars are set up differently, right? You got to drive them differently, but just 2 different driving styles.
Ross Chastain, the defending winner of this race. Man, this team needs a good run. They've really gotten Saturdays better. It's just putting Sundays in a better position, Steve. They need to get stage points, and that's where they really have kind of missed the mark on the 1 team.
Yeah, and it just, overall performance throughout the whole day matters. It used to be about top 5s and top 10s, and now if you don't win, it's about how many points you scored.
Decent lap right there.
Yeah. 6th quickest for Chastain, who was near the bottom of the charts in practice.
That's close enough to get those stage points. You know what, we got maybe 5 more to go. Even if they all beat him, he's going to qualify 11th. You know, that's right there in the reach.
So far, Toyota's 4 of the top 5 cars. Let's see what Kyle Larson can do on his lap.
Watch his throttle. He never lifted.
Never close to lift.
Nope.
He was wondering how much throttle he used. He decided all of it.
100% is a good number.
Now down here, he'll have to. See, it's just not as much grip.
In the ball game, though.
Yeah, it'll be in the top 5.
Kyle Larson winds up 3rd.
P3 with a 30-10. Good effort.
Here comes his teammate Chase Elliott. So much emphasis put on Steve qualifying for this race team. They just have not been strong in that area. Let's see what he can do here.
It doesn't need to be a pole for the night. You know, if you're a Chase Elliott fan, we're not talking about the fastest car here. He just can't start outside the top 15 or 18, which he's consistently done. There you go. That's what you're looking for. The same thing at the end of the racetrack. I would call it a win. And I think he could drive it as such. He doesn't have to commit like it's a must sit on the pole situation with a nice conservative entry, really. There you go.
How about that? 4th for Chase Elliott, who said last Sunday, it's on me. I've got to do a better job on Saturdays. He answered. Got a lot out of that 9 car.
Yeah, they got to feel good about that, right? I mean, that has been a struggle for them. They know it. They've been working on it. Come out here and execute.
Teammates, Joe Gibbs Racing, have locked out the front row. Let's see what their other teammate, Christopher Bell, can say about that.
Oh, big lift, kind of at the 1/3 mark, and that's going to lose a lot of time.
As they both watch on. Bell's so good at this track. Gonna be a solid lap, but not gonna knock his teammates off the front row. As Christopher Bell winds up 5th. This ought to be fun, Jeff. Go have fun with it. I know we wrecked it earlier, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and by the way, you were not free coming to the line. Weren't very good in practice.
Well, and it killed his top speed.
Yes.
I mean, he's going to be way off right away. That big slide coming to the line was all Joey Logano needed, and now at this point he's going to run his lap, but he's not going to do anything to risk wrecking this race car.
Steve, when he was coming to get the green flag and the back of the car had no grip, it's done.
Yep.
There's no confidence that the car has grip. There's no way you can drive into turn 1 with the pace you need to drive into it. He believes the car is not fixed from the damage that they had, so you just got to get around here without wrecking it, but you are going to start essentially last. I mean, there's going to be 1 or 2 cars behind you, an uphill battle. Joey Logano, he is not safe.
No, sir.
Make the next round of the playoffs, and the challenge just got bigger.
Yeah, on a weekend where they need stage points just 24 above the cut line. Going to be a tough Sunday for Joey Logano. Here comes William Byron. We'll see if he can join his teammates up there in the top 5. Both Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott up there.
It looks to me like the Toyotas just have more efficient straight line speed. You know, with the amount of percentage of throttle they're running nearly wide open around here, this could be a setting. You know, I'm not saying that's a downforce or a horsepower thing, but some combination. It seems like the Toyotas just have more top speed.
And because Ryan Blaney will not take a qualifying lap, this is going to be it. Chase Briscoe will be on the pole here in Kansas. His first Kansas pole in his 10th start and the 7th pole of the year for Briscoe, who's just become the qualifying master here in 2025.
You okay with the title qualifying master, Chase Briscoe? The last time we were at 1.5 miles 4 months ago at Charlotte Motor Speedway, you scored the pole there too.
Yeah, honestly, I was just telling the guys, it feels like it's been forever since we've been on the pole. The last couple of weeks we haven't qualified that good. So yeah, glad to get back kind of in our normal form, truthfully. So yeah, just a great day. Like I was saying earlier, going fishing this morning with Johnny and JP and catching all kinds of big bass, then to cap it off with, you know, getting the pole here and kind of their home race, really. So yeah, just super excited for what we have for tomorrow. And I felt like our car was pretty good in practice too. So yeah, hopefully keep this Bass Pro Shops Tracker Toyota up front, and yeah, it'd be nice to win and just not have to deal with all the chaos of the Roval next week.
Penske answered the playoff call last week with the win, Chase. You guys dominated the first round. What is your confidence level after practice and qualifying that you can get back to victory lane in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we've been really solid. I mean, we haven't ran outside the top 10 in the playoffs yet, and we're on the cut line. That's the crazy thing. But certainly, you know, tomorrow, track position is going to be a big key, and for us to be able to start up front, you know, stage points is the biggest component of these playoffs. So as long as we do our job and execute at least the first stage, we should get points and hopefully just keep it up there all day long. So, yeah, I feel really good about it. I thought all of our teammates were really good as well, and obviously that shows by the front row sweep. So hopefully we can keep it up there.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's going to start beside you tomorrow. He's standing by with Dave Burns.
And then he saw crew chief Chris Gale coming down here, and you pointed at your chest. So where'd you lose it?
Off of 4. I'm sure you saw it in the data. I felt like I was way up, but I knew I needed to kind of be a little slower off of 4. Obviously, that was a spot where, you know, a lot of guys had some lifting, and I just didn't compensate quite enough. I knew I got through 1 and 2 really well, but I mean, to be second, honestly, with that, standing on the brakes that hard on the exit, you know, we'll take it. So proud of this whole Sport Clips team. We got a good car for tomorrow. Excited to see what tomorrow brings.
And Denny, is all the discussion and the noise this week about you and Ty last weekend, is that behind you, and can you focus on the race?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, Joe Gibbs Racing here starting, you know, 1, 2, and yeah, all of our cars in the top 10 certainly is a good sign, hopefully, of things to come.
All right, good day so far. Saturday, good for Denny and the team.
Yeah, I would say for Joe Gibbs Racing, Dave, awfully good. Their second front row sweep of 2025. Jeff, as you look at the starting lineup, should we be surprised? Kind of dominated by the top 5, certainly dominated by Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, these playoffs have been a little bit strange. We go into races where you think cars are going to be good and they struggle, and everybody's trying to step up at the end of the year. But, you know, he talked about Joe Gibbs Racing having all the cars in the top 10. Ty Gibbs, row 4, went out 6th. The racetrack was not as good when he went out. That is a really good effort from Ty.
Yeah, when I look at all the playoff drivers right here, William Byron, Tyler Reddick kind of filling in as well. I think mission accomplished for everyone except for Team Penske. That was the down day. We have Cindric you haven't even seen yet. He's all the way down here in row 13, which is the best of the 3 Penske cars. Logano we'll see on the next page, and Blaney didn't even get a chance to qualify. So for all the other playoff cars, I think they're all inside the top 12. Line them up toe-to-toe and see who figures it out in the race.
And it certainly could be a critical race for Joey Logano, who needs those stage points. I mean, Austin Cindric needs them as well. So can't wait for the Kansas race.